We're back with election results and analysis on the Kansas side, and we're already seeing the impact of Tuesday's voting. In Johnson County, incumbent Sheriff Calvin Hayden is on his way out. He lost the Republican primary to his former undersheriff, Doug Bedford. Sheriff Hayden had spent years investigating claims of voter fraud but hadn't come up with anything, and no charges were ever filed. Bedford had long questioned that investigation.
People don't want to see divisive politics. They don't want to see a divisive behavior coming from the top law enforcement agency in Johnson County, the largest law enforcement agency in Johnson County. What they want is safety, and that's what we're going to be. We're going to return professionalism to the organization.
Sheriff Hayden had butted heads with Kansas top election official, Republican Secretary of State Scott Schwab. After the results came in, Schwab simply tweeted, "Looks like there's a new sheriff in town." Schwab maintains Kansas elections are secure. Let's take a quick look at the congressional races in Kansas. A landslide win for incumbent Republican Congressman Tracy Mann, who's moving on to fight for another term. He's up against Democrat Paul Buskirk from Lawrence in November. The Republican race in the Kansas 2nd belongs to former State Attorney General Derek Schmidt, who won with more than 53% of the vote. He'll face former Congresswoman Nancy Boyda in the fall. And in the Kansas 3rd, Dr. Prasanth Reddy defeated businesswoman Karen Circovich for the Republican nomination. He'll face incumbent Sharice Davids, who's running for a 4th term. The last time around in 2022, she won by a mile, even after Kansas Republicans redrew the congressional map to make it harder for Democrats. Let's go through some of the results with our roundtable. Michael Mahoney is back to join us, along with Pilar Pedraza, senior political reporter for KAKE News. Thank you both for being here. Mahoney, I do want to start in Johnson County. Sheriff Hayden will be out of a job. What does this tell you?
It tells me that Johnson County primary voters in the Republican Party did not care for this election investigation into fraud, where there was no obvious results that were presented to folks. I think that Johnson County Republican primary voters want a public safety sheriff and not one that got into politics, as Doug Bedford indicated during his interview there. He also irritated Scott Schwab, as we saw here, the Secretary of State for the state of Kansas, who supervises elections, with that snarky little tweet about, well, there's a new sheriff in town. So we'll see. Johnson County hasn't elected a Democratic sheriff in a long time, so Doug Bedford comes into this race as a favorite.
Yeah, it's certainly an uphill battle for Democrats there. Pilar, looking at the U.S. congressional races, what stood out to you?
Well, there's a number of things there that are very interesting. One, Sharice Davids actually looks pretty safe, despite the fact that there has been some push on Prasanth Reddy's part, on the Republican Party's part, to really push back and try and win back that seat. For now, it looks like it's a fairly safe Democratic seat. If you move over to the 2nd, nobody was surprised by Derek Schmidt's win. A lot of folks, though, very surprised by Nancy Boyda's win over on the Democratic side, because she really upset a lot of Democrats with kind of her "I'm a bad Democrat" race, as one analyst called it. But it seems to have really worked for her, and it kind of highlights an interesting aspect, which is the growing difference between rural Democrats and urban Democrats. Urban Democrats tending to be more progressive, rural Democrats tending to be more center of the road. And in this case, she was able to play that in her favor.
Mahoney?
One of the big things on the Kansas 3rd race is the fact that Sharice Davids will come in with a substantial financial advantage on this, at least 3-1 over Dr. Reddy in this, and that's going to be a major issue for them. The Reddy campaign has an opportunity to get money to make this a race, but the question is whether or not the Republican National Party will back this race, because as Pilar mentioned, this is a race that Sharice Davids has now turned this seat at least Democratic for 3 terms. The longer you're in there, the harder it is to get them out.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the Kansas legislature, because we have House and Senate seats up for grabs. What stood out to you about election night?
2 things. Number one, and they were two races that involved incumbents that were defeated. Number one, in Wyandotte County, Marvin Robinson was defeated by Wanda Page in a race for a House seat, the 35th House seat. Marvin Robinson irritated the Democrats in the legislature in the Kelly administration by voting with Republicans a lot of the time in that, and that cost him the seat. And then the other one is Dennis Pyle in Hiawatha, north of Topeka, who ran as an independent in the governor's race 2 years ago, and Republicans blame him in part for the loss of the governor's race with Derek Schmidt. He was defeated and taken out of office.
All right, a real quick last word, Pilar. What could this mean for a supermajority in Topeka? Do Democrats have a chance in November?
Actually, from the Republicans I have spoken to since election night, they are truly worried about Johnson County, Northeast Kansas, and losing that supermajority, at least in the House. They're saying that's going to be hard for them to defend. They're picking, in a couple of cases at least, more moderate candidates to go to the general election. So perhaps a sign of how Republicans are trying to fight back against that Democratic push.
We'll see. We'll leave it there. P. Leopard Johnson, Mike Mahoney, thank you.